What happens when you tell people you're retiring? At 56, you expect smiles. You expect maybe a wow or that's the dream. But instead, the reactions ranged from confusion to concern. Some people were silent. Others gave me that look, the one that says, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" After nearly 30 years of working, saving diligently, living below our means, and raising 3 kids, we finally reached the point where we could say, we're done. We owned our home, our kids were independent, and we had a solid financial plan. We thought we were doing something inspiring, but instead of admiration, we were met with disbelief. One coworker said, "You'll be back in 6 months. A close friend warned, you're going to be bored." And one of our kids, who I loved dearly, looked me in the eye and said, "It just feels weird, Dad. Like, people your age are still working." That comment stuck with me. I started asking myself, did we make a mistake? Here's the truth no one tells you about early retirement. You don't just leave a job. You leave an identity. You leave routine. You leave the world you've known for most of your adult life. For years, your name is followed by your job title. You have meetings, tasks, goals, responsibilities. You know who you are, and so does everyone else. But once you retire, especially at an unusual age like 56, all of that vanishes overnight. You wake up the next day, and the world is quieter. Your phone doesn't ring as much. Your calendar is suddenly empty. And as freeing as that sounds, it can also feel like a loss of relevance, a loss of purpose. It's something no spreadsheet can prepare you for. I had always believed that freedom was the goal, and it still is. But freedom without structure can feel like floating in open water with no shore in sight. There were beautiful moments, too. Waking up with my wife and having coffee with no rush. Taking long walks. Reading books I had shelved for years. Seeing the seasons change through the windows of a home we worked so hard to build. But there were also awkward moments. Friends pulling away because they couldn't relate anymore. Former coworkers avoiding me, maybe out of discomfort or envy. Even casual conversations became tricky. When people ask, "What do you do?" What do you say? "I'm retired," doesn't always land well at 56. Some think you're bragging. Others assume you're just lucky. But it's not luck. It's years of sacrifice, discipline, and choices most people aren't willing to make. We drove older cars, skipped fancy vacations, said no to lifestyle inflation, and in the end, we bought something far more valuable than status. Time. Time to be present, time to breathe, time to live on our terms. If you're dreaming about retiring early, here's what I'd tell you now. Yes, plan your finances, but more importantly, plan your purpose. Retirement isn't just about escaping the rat race. It's about entering a new chapter with intention. Ask yourself, what will give your days meaning? What kind of person do you want to become when the noise stops? Will you travel? Will you create? Will you give back? Because if you don't fill your time with something purposeful, it will start to feel empty. Find community. Stay mentally and physically active. And most of all, give yourself permission to evolve. You're not walking away from life. You're walking toward a new version of it. This journey has taught me something powerful. Retirement doesn't mean you're done. It means you're free to start something that finally aligns with who you are. Yes, people will judge. Yes, some won't understand. But the life you build after retirement, that's yours and yours alone. So, if this story resonated with you, please give this video a like. It helps others find it. And if you're on your own journey, whether you're years away or right around the corner, subscribe to the channel. We're building a space for honest conversations about life, aging, freedom, and fulfillment. Drop a comment below. What does your ideal retirement look like? Because the real success story isn't retiring early. It's retiring with purpose.